Hello,
Thank you.
hello. We are in our weekly AMA, and today we have Partisia team to answer all your questions we received in Discord and privately.
Thank you, Christine. So starting with the first question about fees, I think Peter touched on that yesterday, but if you could repeat, where are transaction fees needed, since Partisia Blockchain will be using Ethereum and USDC as gas?
So there are a number of steps regarding fees. So you have to sort of look at this in the different components there are. When you are, as a user of the blockchain, sending transactions to the blockchain, we are going to deduct fees as we process that transaction. So as soon as the transaction ends up in the blockchain, we are going to handle the fees. And the fees is more complicated than a usual blockchain. So this is where the bring your own coin comes in. The account needs to have some coins brought in from another blockchain. And then what the blockchain does, it takes the allocated fees and it converts the bring your own coin at that moment to the fees. So the conversion of fees happens as you send the transaction into the blockchain. The account needs to have bring your own coin in advance already on the account, and this is done while using one of the currently two bridges that we have. You can see them on the MPC Explorer, where you can access the two different bridges, and you can get access to having liquid tokens on the Partisia blockchain. So there are these two steps. You first need to make sure that you have bring your own coin on your account, and you can do that using the MPC Explorer. And secondly, every time you do an interaction on the blockchain, that is triggering a conversion of your bring your own coin into the fees that is being provided from the blockchain.
Okay. And the second question is, who has to manage the fees into the contract? And it sounds like for one of the coders that it will be the responsibility of the smart contract owner to fund it. Is it correct?
Yes. Yes, it's completely correct. If the smart contract needs to use fees, then it is the owners, the deployers, the programmers' responsibility to make sure that there are fees available for that. Of course, it's more complicated, and of course you can do more things, but when the baseline is that it's the programmer's responsibility, it's the owner's responsibility. And it's built into the smart contract API and into the SDK that you can allocate and distribute those fees as you need them in the smart contract interaction as you program it.
Yeah, I can elaborate a little bit. For simple contracts, the fees are only handled within the contract itself, and there it's much simpler to handle because it only depends on how much CPU and network traffic is used to handle the request. So the fees will be very simple in a simple contract. The situation where it becomes a little bit more complicated is if you have a contract that has to talk to other contracts, and those contracts also need to get fees. And in that situation, there is a default that actually works out of the box, where the fees are distributed equally among the contracts that you're communicating with. But if you have one contract that is very expensive and another one that is very cheap, then you may, as a programmer, want to actually allocate more fees towards the one contract than the other one, and then you can fine-tune the fee distribution.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I see we have also more people joining the chat room. Everybody, please feel free to write your questions in the Q&A section, or if you don't see it, then in the chat section. But the third question we had from the Discord channel was actually, could you describe in more detail how to handle hiding of the input values work for text content? So the person here says, I understand how it works when it's for numerical values, but how does it handle text values?
I think I'd like to talk to the person who posed this question in detail to understand the use case, because text are just numbers. They're just a very long list of numbers. So if you take any text, you can just process it as numbers. That would be my default. But I think in order to probably answer this question, I probably need to have some more information about. We have done some text parsing, but we always try to revert the computation and the back into more direct numerical form, because numbers are much easier to process and much easier to work with. So the answer is it's complicated. I think that's the best answer I can give at this point. I'd be happy to talk to that person, go more into detail. Jesper can also elaborate on the things that we've done with text, which isn't really extensive, but we've tried to sometimes work with it, and then we end up having programmed something that's actually working on numbers.
Yeah, I think Peter is right. Basically, text is just numbers. So you can process text by processing numbers. When that is said, very often when you try to achieve something, then then you have to think about what do you need to put into zero knowledge or MPC, and what can you actually handle outside MPC to get the valuable outcome. So understanding the use case that is needed can often lead to solutions where you actually need less zero knowledge than you think you do at the outset. If it's important to work with text, then because the whole text has to be secret, then you have to decide on a maximum length upfront, because even the length of the text will reveal some information. So you would actually have to decide on a maximum length upfront, and then treat a number of texts that are all within that maximum length and just pad it with empty characters at the end. But then it would be possible to process text.
Yeah.
Next question is, how can I submit the RFP, and what are the details I need to focus on?
I'm just gonna, in the chat, hopefully I spelled it right, put an email address that we created for sending proposals, RFPs to a shared email address where people are going to monitor it. So this is where you're going to send the RFPs. The RFPs also have a template. We've built a template with some default questions. I'm not sure whether or not that's been released publicly yet, but it's coming. If not this week, then next week, where you can see what are the questions that we really want to have answered, and what are the details that we would like you to go into. If you send it now, and I can guarantee you someone will afterwards send more information about the things that we need additionally. So you can use the email address already now.
Okay, you just send it to me as a direct message, so I'm just gonna copy
it. In the, oh, sorry.
That's fine. I'm just gonna clarify that it's
Perfect.
this email.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
So pitch@partisiablockchain.com is the email where people can send their proposals.
Yes.
Cool. Next question here is, I hear so much hype about ZK, I mean, how to pronounce this anyway. What is the difference between ZK rollups, ZK proof, and ZK computation?
I think
Peter has the answer for that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of hashtags and a lot of words there.
Yeah, we're gonna throw.
What does it mean?
So to start from the small place, to start from the beginning, we have zero knowledge proof. Zero knowledge proof is a way where a person or a entity is proving something to another. So usually what you have on a blockchain, on a classical blockchain, when you are trying to hide information, then you have that the prover is someone who sends a proof that does not contain any information, but though still proves something to the public blockchain. This is a zero knowledge proof, and zero knowledge proof can be used to render one bit. So you get one bit outcome, and it's only one person that can provide the input. So it's a fairly limited scenario compared to what we're providing. Is we're providing general zero knowledge computation. And general zero knowledge computation actually allows any party to provide input and do any type of computation and get any type of output. And that output can actually be reused in following computation. So you actually have a secret state, and you have secret input, and you have secret output. You have all these things, not just bits, and everything is not public, and you don't have a inputter. So that's the difference between zero knowledge input and zero knowledge proofs and general MPC. Comparing it to zero knowledge rollups is complicated because zero knowledge rollups is actually not zero knowledge. It's just very, very, very compressed proofs of a blockchain, and you are not able, both the prover and the verifier of the zero-knowledge rollup, needs to have the entire state. So prover and verifiers need to have the complete state. So it's not hiding any information. You can just have lightweight clients that are accessing the state. And we have the same thing. We've actually provided the same thing as a first level citizen in the blockchain, where we have what we call finalization proofs. We have small succinct proofs of a block's finalization, and we also have a small succinct proof of the committed chain. So we have a very small compression of the data in question. So we have the same thing in our blockchain, but it's not zero knowledge per se as we perceive it. It's not zero knowledge as it is in the literature.
And the zero knowledge computation?
Zero knowledge computation is arbitrary types of computations that allows to compute on secret data, and this is MPC. You can also do some zero knowledge computation using homomorphic encryption. You can also do zero knowledge computation using other techniques. Currently we've implemented MPC. We will be implementing other techniques as we progress further along the road, but for now, the primary vehicle, because it's the most efficient one, is the MPC for the zero knowledge computation.
What does unified public and private smart contract mean? I mean, I think some people are still a little bit confused about what you mean by unified.
Well, we have one smart contract language that allows us to write smart contracts that are public, as similar blockchains has a public smart contract language. You have that, and at the same time, we have an ability to write private computations, confidential with confidential data, and we can combine them. And this is why it's unified. And I think Jesper will probably much better in explaining what the unification means and why it's combined into all one thing. But if you look at existing libraries out there that are doing MPC, you would find that they do not have a unified language. They have a language for expressing the confidential computations, but not a language for telling how it's being run.
Yeah, I think it calls back to the previous question, because the CK computation is, I think in Kurt's presentation the other day, Kurt talked about it like an encrypted CPU, where when you do a CK computation, you can actually do anything a CPU can do, but you can do it on encrypted data. And this is what multi-party computation actually offers. And when we can do anything you can do on a CPU, then our thought is, let's make a programming language that allows an ordinary programmer to actually program things for the encrypted CPU. And what we've done is to actually create a subset of the Rust programming language, where you can program in ordinary Rust a program that is then executed using multi-party computation in a way that effectively gives you an encrypted CPU that is even stronger than these hardware solutions that Intel and others are proposing as the solution for actually encrypting computations. And the reason that we've chosen to use a subset of Rust is that this is also the same language you use to program the public part of the smart contract, where everyone can see what's going on. So in a single programming language, you can actually create computations that run in public, visible to everyone, but also computations that run using multi-party computation on what is effectively an encrypted CPU. And that will help a lot in actually making smart contracts that are flexible in what they use in private data and in public data.
Nice. We have Stefan, or Stefan in German, joining us from Betaverse team. He actually has 3 questions that his team put together. And the first question is,
how about, are you able to unmute the participants and let them ask the questions?
Yeah, I could actually do that. Uno momento. So, Stefan, you can talk. Just unmute the mic on the left.
Actually, I have turned the laptop microphone on. Hello, I didn't know how to mute the chat, so I didn't know if I was muted or unmuted. Okay, so
You were muted
yes,
before. Now you are unmuted.
nice. So first things first, thank you for the session. So the three questions that we have is first, I mean the first one and the second one is basically the same. We are looking to bring everything that we want to build on our platform in a mobile first approach. So this means that the customers will always have easy access to but also the way that he will use the let's say the crypto space is not with zero knowledge, but with really a lot of use of access. And this means that we need to encapsulate all the technical difficulties of the blockchain inside of not our UI, but our backends and our infrastructure. So this is the first question, which is basically both of them. How can we, is there public APIs for mobile, specific mobile, because we have both iOS and Android native applications? So this would be the first question. Outside of web, of course. The web is okay, just on the mobile part.
Currently, what we're shipping as natively is that we're shipping TypeScript libraries for the web. I don't think we've designed any that is utilizing, and I'm not. We've been looking into it. I'm not quite sure how close you can get to the hardware and to the keys in the secure storage of the phone. We haven't integrated that into the API as of yet. So it's not like you can access the phone for the secure vault and secure storage in there and get the keys there directly through our APIs.
Okay. I think we have to do a little bit more digging here. Okay, thank you.
It would be nice if you contacted us, and you can just ping Christian, and he will ping the rest of us, because we probably want to help you do it. But we then probably need to understand exactly what the use case is and how we best can support you.
Of course.
Stefan, are you in Discord?
Me, yes. We actually have a chat. I think that you guys have been super busy, so I will just ping you there.
Perfect.
Okay, and let's say the second/third question was related to the bring your own coin model. So I have seen it, we have used it, it's genius. We really love it, and we would like to know what it would mean to extend this. So is this like, you snap your fingers and then voila, you have another coin? I think it's not. So this was the question. What would it mean, let's say, to have another blockchain or another coin on Partisia?
The biggest chain, depending on the coin, depending on the origin chain. Let's assume it's Solidity based, or it's ERC20 like coin, and it has liquidity and it has a value. Then the biggest thing is to convince the node operators that they should vote for it. So every time we are changing this blockchain, every time we are adding stuff to the blockchain, there is a decentralized vote where all the blockchain, all the node operators are voting for the content of the next updates, and that is the thing that we need to do. So that takes a bit of time. I think you probably want to address the leadership team in order to propose different coins. We're probably most happy to take them on, but we need to make sure that we do this in the right order.
Okay, awesome, thank you. I will ping you actually later with these topics again.
Yeah, do that. No problem at all.
Yeah, awesome. And in regards to like mobile wallets as well, it's something that we're on the application side looking into in a few different ways, which is one, partnering with other mobile wallets that have a lot of users already and getting integrated in there, rather than trying to build it necessarily off from scratch yourself. Something that we're doing. So happy to also involve you in those processes, especially if there's mobile applications and things that you already are working on. It would be cool to bring you in as one of the first sort of test cases.
That sounds really good. We are interested, definitely.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you.
Sounded like good questions. What I have here more. So there is another guy writing, what are the next
Bring your own coin.
BYOC. I mean, these acronyms, man, I'm sorry. I can't pronounce them as fast as it should be, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, BYOC, bring your own coins you are working on.
We could also program it BYOC, but I think bring your own coin is better.
Yeah, so there's some really exciting ones that we're doing sort of a timeline on. So for example, we're looking at integrating Ripple, XRP, Bitcoin, the native Bitcoin itself. But then some of the lower hanging fruit is the other EVM chains, since we've already implemented ETH, Polygon. So looking at bringing maybe Binance Smart Chain, BNB. But yeah, it's a really exciting time for these next few integrations, looking at Algorand, because the EVMs, we have a pretty solid foundation for already, so we can roll them out in rather expedited timelines. Things like Ripple might take 2 months or so once we start work on it. But when that's done, maybe Bitcoin would only take 1 month after that, because some of the work will have be replicable. So yeah, there's a big focus on that and exciting timelines coming up.
Good. Could you tell what is the most important item in your roadmap for 2023? So I guess people want to know the progress that you're planning, the next step, next ambition.
Yeah, but we don't have an ambition. It's not a singular thing. It's a multiple thing. And for me, it's
go big or go home,
Exactly. And this question sort of begs which of your children do you love the most? That's a completely unfair question. And
but you don't love them equally either, so let's be fair.
Yeah, but you don't want to. It's not. I can't choose. So all the items on the roadmap is very, very important, and all the things that we're doing we have the 3 tracks that we're working on. We're working on scalability, we're working on privacy, and we're working on interoperability. And for scalability, we're going to have a much better sharding model. For privacy, we're going to have a much more extended smart contract language. And for interoperability, we're going to add more coin. I think Brian just mentioned that, and we're going to start working on some of the more complicated collateralizable data oracles. All of these things, I think, are epic achievements in itself. And under those lies, so I would rather refer you to the roadmap yourselves and have a look and find your own darling, because there's so many great things coming in the roadmap.
Yeah, and when they all come together, it forms a really powerful end-to-end solution that can do crazy things that the blockchain's been waiting for. So when you think, there's a lot of hype over networks like Layer 0, where they're, proposing moving different assets across all these different chains that aren't, using just EVM, for example, completely different code bases, but the ability to do these asset movements to different types of networks. The Partisia blockchain is perfectly outfitted to be that solution with its own data oracles and, epic security models. So it's right around the corner that this thing is really, the engine is basically ready to roll. It's a long work in progress that's coming together as one full end-to-end solution. So I think the use cases Kurt refers to a lot, that he's excited to see the use cases coming. And we have this foundation in a place where they can really start to thrive. The tools are almost all there. So it's a lot of work. And a lot of the initial node operators and maybe the people watching this now have been with us for a while. They've seen the steady progress, but it's starting to escalate a bit. So for me, that's the most exciting thing.
These people are passionate here, huh? You're building for yourself as well, right? And for the greater good for everybody else.
It's a lot of work. So.
Next question here is, can you tell us the difference between things like Tornado Cash and Partisia in regards to privacy and anonymity?
Yeah, maybe I can take a stab at that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I think this point back at some of the very basic design choices that we made for the network. So the Tornado Cash is very much about like keeping transaction hidden, as well as obfuscating the transportation of data. So we're not going that direction at all. In fact, we are designing a very generic network so you can come in and use that across the application, across jurisdiction for any type of private and public coordination. So if you have that kind of stuff built into layer one, you already lock yourself out of a lot of stuff. So we're not doing that. Instead, you have a very sort of generic approach to doing a public and private operations at the same time. So in that sense, since we talked about the unified smart contract in a minute ago, that's really sort of capture this, because you have complete transparency about how to use privacy. So in that sense, you know exactly how you tell the people, this is how I'm going to use the data, and now I'm going to keep these data hidden. So this, you're getting that mix of transparency and privacy, which can solve. I would actually claim that this could solve any level of privacy. And depending on the regulation, you don't want to go to these extremes. You could do it, and we are actually doing this, and it kind of works as a showcase of what you can do, since the work with the international records is actually adding more privacy than what you would probably do in a normal financial system. And that we can do since we have this ability to do any sort of mix of private and public coordination. So it works as a showcase of even extreme uses of privacy and anonymity. So yeah, I think that's kind of explain this, and it's kind of important because it's completely different from what this tomato cast. So it's actually designed to not doing that, but being regulatory compliant to how data protection is designed around the globe.
Okay. The kid is one guy. I don't know the name of him, but I think like he wants to like hack the system, because his question is like, is the hackathon the only way to apply for a grant? So is there a fast track?
So you know, we're bringing this hackathon together to get the community sort of, it's like the birth of the developer community, where we can come together in person and have a bit more coordination, and we're marketing the grants around this event. But it starts, you know, now. It already has begun, and you know, we're getting developers starting to build now. And it doesn't mean that grants are only limited to this hackathon. So if you have a great idea, contact Bruce at Boonga on our Discords or Telegrams to get started with some conversations, because there's always opportunities to work with us if it's a good use case and fit for the blockchain and benefit the users. And we want to speak to you. So don't hold off if you can't make this hackathon or participate just now. There's other ways to always be engaged with us.
Yeah, also people don't have to join like from the beginning of the hackathon, correct? They can join anytime. They just gotta submit some, you know, code sample, some idea concept of how this will evolve. So the jury and mentors at the Partisia side can evaluate and understand, are they moving to the hackathon happening in Paris, December 1 to 3.
Yep. Okay, cool. That's right on. Yeah, anyone can join throughout the process. There's no you didn't miss out yet.
The last question here I have listed is about the development skills. I have development skills, but the use cases for Partisia are quite broad. So how can I work with someone who has an idea for the hackathon?
So if you are a good developer who wants to just start building, again, you should reach out to Bruce and he'll get you in touch with the right people, because there's a lot of things we're working on that we can share a bit more about. And so if you If you want to just dive in and get involved with certain things we're already working on or building, we have an applications team. There's a lot of different use cases we have in mind on the roadmap that maybe we haven't started yet that you could start building yourself or find a team for. So really it's just about getting involved and communicating with us, and we can get there.
Okay. I see Stefan. Stefan, you have more questions. Do you want to switch your mic and ask them?
Hello again. Yes, sorry, I couldn't help myself. So 4 more. The first one is related to the bring your own coin. So if we consider Ethereum as a standard, does this mean we will have, let's say by magic, all the ESDTs also, let's say, available for bring your own coin? I don't know how to call this mechanism.
Kurt, you're muted.
Yeah, but I'm not saying anything, so I'm a little bit unfamiliar with this. So to be honest, so I don't have a ready answer for this. Honestly, that's probably better to give you a better answer later.
Yeah, maybe we should touch base on those questions separately, because I think there are some. I think we can try to answer a lot of the good the questions that you just posed here. But I think it's probably interesting to have a more deep dive discussion with some of the people that have been thinking more about the DeFi solutions that could be built on Partisia. That's the thing.
But maybe you could mention again if the option of doing CK swaps, which is something that we have been talking about from time to time, which also talks about the capability of the network as such. So one of the challenges with some of these DeFi solutions called automated market makers or swaps, uniswaps as an example, is that you might have the opportunity to front run, because this is kind of a public information, what kind of transaction that has to be implemented by the node operators. So there's a number of ways or different ways to front run this. It might be that you have these mempool where you have increasing prices, so you can front run by paying higher extra fees and getting ahead of others. Or it might be that you are the node operators that implement this, and you place your own bet before on top of this transaction that you see, and you try to front run that. So that is kind of an odd situation. So this is the network working against you. So it's no good really for anyone. It's not going to create trust for the network in the long run. It's just going to distort the trading. So in order to effectively address this, you can run that swap with the zero knowledge computation or MPC. So the positions is hidden. So now the node operators, they wouldn't know whether the price would go up or go down. So there would be no way for them to front run based on the superior information or superior control that the node operators have. So that's actually a direct addressing inefficiency in the existing DeFi solutions. Yeah, so I think that's it. And
I mean, it's a very interesting take to not have the, let's say, the customers frauded or anything by bots that can perform transactions before you. It's very interesting to hear this.
Yes.
And this is definitely plaguing the current DeFi solutions.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that we're definitely going to do. And you're talking about the BYOC, and we're doing more of that, as Brian was talking about. So this is also creating that these opportunities for building a more sort of greater unified DeFi solution across a number of crypto asset classes. So these are the opportunities that is opening up with this interoperability and so on.
Tom, thank you. Just the last question then. So sorry, this is really the first time that we managed to connect. Is there any way to revisit the previous talks? We would be very interested to see everything.
There is a recording of everything, right? So
yes, it's already online.
Oh, well.
On the hackathon page, so go to hackathon.partisiablockchain.com. there is an events session on the hackathon page. And the first 2 sessions, the kickoff with Brian and the intro to the mainnet and the main concepts described by Kurt, are already online. As soon as Christine, you're sending us the link from Peter's session yesterday and the one from today, we'll update those as well. So in the course of today. Also, Stefan, I don't know if you saw my chat. I was asking you if you are on Discord and in touch with Bunga already, or if you would like to set up a one-to-one. We are offering mentorship sessions, one-to-ones for the people ready to start working on their proposals. So let us know.
Sure. We are connected on Discord. I will ping again on the channel, and I will also reply to you here in the chat. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. I also added extra, again, the hackathon email, the hackathon webpage address. So in case somebody is missing, just click on it and, save the browser link, and you can scroll down. The recordings are towards the back, at the bottom of the page.
Cool. Perfect.
Nice. I have a question to the other attendees. So David Abembola, if I can say your surname out loud, or Johnny, Michelle, Mimir. If you have questions, maybe you can raise a hand and I can give you the mic. Deadly silence.
Yeah, I think David and Mimir is most likely, and Thomas is most likely in terms. So I think it's a fairly close circle today.
Yeah, I guess let's collect more questions for the next one we do. And we'll run it again.
Yep, cool.
Cool. I think we're ready to wrap up. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a very nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.